Hola and happy Friday, everybody. This guy you're listening to right here is Ray Fluke, television beat writer for Bleeding Cool, and I'd like to welcome you back to another edition of the Weekly Static. Now, obviously, you might be thinking to yourself, why can't we see you? Trying a little something different this week with this edition. Going to go with an audio edition. There are a number of you who have hit me up over the last couple weeks and asked if I could try doing an audio version instead of a video version. I hope it's not because I'm just not pretty enough for everybody, because I think I'm kind of cute. At least that's what my mom used to tell me. But we're going to try audio edition just to see how this turns out, because we're always looking for different ways to present the Weekly Static to you guys. So if you're really into this, please let me know and we'll switch it up. We can do a whole bunch of different versions of this. But other than that, besides this is an audio only version, everything is exactly the same. The Weekly Static, we look at 5 hot issues in our television coverage from the past week from a number of great writers, the bleedingcool.com website. And we offer our take, our perspective, an interesting, hopefully interesting perspective on things, and maybe looking at it from a different angle you may not have thought of. So hopefully you will like them. The top 5 are not exactly a top 5. We don't actually rank them. I do it because it's done out of respect, honor, and as an homage to one of the greatest actors on the silver screen and my spirit animal, John Cusack. And if you haven't seen Better Off Dead, One Crazy Summer, Grosse Pointe Blank, or High Fidelity, I really, really encourage you to go and check those out because they're just awesome, but I digress. So yes, we're going to be taking a look at 5. We rank them from 5 to 1 just because I think it's cool, so you're just going to have to humor me. But starting with number 5, we have WWE and Fox coming together for a deal to bring SmackDown to Fox and away from the USA Network. For those of you who don't know, WWE has already secured a big, fat, sweet deal for Raw to stay at USA, but USA was pretty much okay with saying, hey, go shop that elsewhere. That's actually been a huge help to the WWE, because the WWE now can really say, hey, we've got 2 big shows that can actually, in a weird kind of way, more brand compete with each other than they have been able to in the past. And I think it kind of helps SmackDown no longer being seen as kind of like the unloved child of the 2 by the WWE. Plus, moving it to Friday and moving it to 3 hours, I like this idea that you now have a bookend weekend of WWE programming with SmackDown on Friday and Raw on Monday. I kind of like that. Or even looking at it starting off the week with Raw and ending it with SmackDown. I think it's a good combination. I'm very curious to see how everybody takes to it as the details start to pan out. Also curious to see what it's going to be like when they start getting into conversations about which WWE superstar is going to be on which show. That's, I think, going to get very, very interesting. How much Fox and USA are going to have some say over who wrestles where. So that is number 5. We're going to be looking at number 4. Damon Lindelof wrote I'm going to call it a 5-page manifesto to try to explain what his version of Watchmen is going to be like for HBO. And for those of you who don't know, again, HBO and Damon Lindelof are doing a televised adaptation, kind of, sort of, of Dave Gibbons and Alan Moore's just ultimate classic, not just comic book story, but just one of the best works of literature that's come out in decades. I invite you to check the article out and read it for yourself. I'm more confused than I was beforehand, and even then I was confused because it's not an adaptation, it's not a sequel, it's set in the world, it's going to involve some characters are going to be new. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm concerned for Damon Lindelof because I feel like this guy is just going nuts trying to make everybody happy, and it's just not going to happen. He's just going to have to move forward and make his own vision, and if some of that's a sequel, that's fine. If it's going to anger and piss off some people, that's fine, that's cool. Because at the end of the day, message to you, Damon, you're going to want this art to represent you, because if it doesn't represent you and everybody hates it in the long run, you are going to be doubly and triply kicking yourself, because you will not get another opportunity to get a shot at this. So make the Watchmen that you want. Obviously, it will make HBO happy. Clearly, they're the one paying the bill. But make the Watchmen that you want. Don't try to satisfy every single fan out there, because there are just some fans who just believe Watchmen is untouchable beyond the graphic novel. You're just never going to reach them. That is just a wasted cause. So that's number 4. Number 3, Twitch is going to be doing over 7 weeks. They're going to be doing a Doctor Who marathon for the first 7 Doctors. Not a lot to say about this, other than the fact that I just think this is really cool, and I love what Twitch has been doing with the merging of other areas of pop culture beyond just video games. I'm about to say the pop culture, so I could sound like really like I was 90 or 100 years old. But I like this idea what Twitch has been doing. They did a great job with professional wrestling just recently, and I know with Ring of Honor and with Impact that I thought was very cool. And I know they've also been doing the Saturday Night Live marathon, which I thought was great. I just really big fan of this, because I think people really truly need to appreciate that if you love Doctor Who, you have to love it for all of its good and all of its bad. Like, if you love Doctor Who from Chris Eccleston on, that's awesome, that's great. But if you love Doctor Who and you can look somebody in the eye and say, and by the way, I love it for the Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy special effects. Now that, my friends, is a true Doctor Who fan. That's number 3. Number 2, NFL owners are taking a knee. Yes, that's right. The NFL owners have come up with a policy that basically says if you are out and the national anthem is playing, you have to stand, you cannot kneel. We're going to start finding teams and all this stuff. If you don't want to come out for the anthem, you don't have to. You can stay in the locker room. I don't know if the NFL owners thought this was going to take care of everything. And I say this under television because this is just going to be a televised spectacle for kickoff and for the opening game as well as for opening weekend. It's just it's going to be insane because now all you've done is you've passed this rule in May. So you're giving all the players and the players union and everybody else who are already just righteously pissed off about this to begin with, you're giving them all this opportunity to really come up with a coordinated, organized plan to send a message. And that's what's going to end up happening. Because you even got owners right now who are coming out who aren't even acting as if they even knew about the plan or what the plan was about. I think it was the Jets owner was like, none of my players are going to have to worry about ever paying a fine, which is very cool. Now, I think you've got some other owners like Jerry Jones. I don't want to imply, but I'm thinking Jerry Jones, who's not going to be so nice and so understanding. So I'm very curious to see how this is playing out. But this is really about the NFL owners really taking a knee for the White House and for Trump, and it was an unnecessary move. It really wasn't, because, again, they keep thinking at the end of the day who you're going to hurt for business. You're also going to be losing business of people who think you just basically tuck tail and kowtowed. So, NFL owners, it's not like I expected anything better from you. It's just when you just don't do better, it's just one of those head-shaking moments that just goes, ugh. Okay, finally we're getting to our last item. Personal mine, because I've become obsessed with this show ever since it's been announced. Hulu is doing Castle Rock, and for those of you who don't know, it's going to be a Stephen King shared universe series, a horror anthology that will be utilizing storylines and characters but changing them up from season to season. I'm thinking more in the lines of Fargo. What's been very cool is I actually did a write-up about Stephen King at one point saying he wasn't sure how things were going with Castle Rock, that he kind of felt in the dark along with everybody else, which, of course, I think got all the red flags going up and like, oh, wow, what's going on here? But it was really great to report that Stephen King has seen the pilot, that he sent a positive rave review to J.J. Abrams, who then turned on and passed that email on to the executive producers and the two guys who've really been spearheading this, Sam Shaw and Dustin Thomason, who we're thrilled to see. So I was very excited to see that, because if you have a Stephen King project that's going to be wrapped up in the Stephen King universe, you're really going to have to make sure he's on the same page with it. And considering he's been having a good run lately with a lot of his work, yeah, it's nice to see that if the guy who's behind horror is smiling, that's a very good sign. So very pleased. And that actually premieres in July. I was going to say June because I'm confusing with Preacher, but Castle Rock premieres on Hulu streaming service in July. Okay, folks, that's our top 5. WWE SmackDown deal with Fox, Damon Lindelof, Watchmen, HBO, the Doctor Who Marathon on Twitch, NFL owners taking a knee, and Stephen King giving a thumbs up for Castle Rock. Thank you guys for joining me. Once again, my name is Ray Flick, television beat writer. Make sure you're checking out bleedingcool.com for all the cool coverage of all the stuff under the pop culture sun and across the pop culture landscape. Take care. Have a great weekend.